Okay, so today we're diving into something that's really shaking things up in software development.
Hmm.
Generative AI in testing. You know how much time you spend writing test cases trying to catch every single bug before your software goes live?
Oh, yeah.
Well, imagine a world where AI can take on that heavy lifting for you,
Right.
creating tests and even predicting potential issues before they even come up. We've been looking into some pretty fascinating research on this.
Yeah,
And let me tell you, it's clear that this is not just about making testing faster. It's about making it way smarter.
absolutely. It's amazing to see how generative AI is impacting the entire software development lifecycle. Like, take the time it takes to just design and write test cases. One fintech company we looked at actually managed to reduce that time by a crazy 70% just by using generative AI.
Wow, 70%, that's incredible. But I guess the question is it just about speed?
It's definitely not just about speed, it's also about tackling the huge challenge of test coverage.
Yeah.
Think about all the different scenarios you have to consider when you're testing something like a ride-hailing app. Different devices, operating systems, network conditions, I mean, the combinations are just endless.
Yeah, for sure.
And generative AI can actually create test scenarios for all those variations, which leads to much more thorough testing. We even found a case study where a logistics app increased its test coverage by 85% using AI.
85%. So it's really about finding those tricky edge cases that might slip through the cracks with those traditional testing methods.
Exactly. And beyond coverage, generative AI is also proving to be incredibly effective at defect detection. By analyzing code logs and even user behavior, it can actually identify potential problems that might have gone completely unnoticed.
It's like having an AI detective constantly on the lookout
Yeah,
for clues that something might go wrong.
that's a great way to put it. Yeah. One gaming company we looked at was able to prevent server crashes by using AI to analyze player logs. The AI actually detected patterns that indicated an impending crash, and this allowed the developers to go in and address the issue proactively.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've got faster test creation, better coverage, and improved defect detection. But what about keeping those tests up to date? Software is constantly changing, so maintaining test scripts can be a real pain.
Yeah, it can be. But that's where AI's ability to adapt comes into play. So think about like a banking app that gets a UI redesign. Instead of manually rewriting all the test scripts, generative AI can automatically update them to reflect the changes. One retail company we studied saw a 60% reduction in test script maintenance time
It,
thanks to AI.
it's like having a self-healing test suite that evolves alongside the software. That's got to be a huge relief for developers and testers.
It definitely is.
But all this efficiency, I mean, it has to translate into cost savings too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Automating those time-consuming tasks frees up so many valuable resources, allowing developers and testers to focus on more strategic and creative work.
It's not just about working faster, it's about working smarter. And one of the things that really stood out to me in the research was the concept of intelligent risk assessment. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, of course. So generative AI doesn't just run tests randomly. It can actually analyze the impact of code changes and then prioritize tests based on the areas most likely to be affected.
So it's like having an AI risk manager that helps you focus your testing efforts where they matter most.
Precisely. Take a tax calculation module, for example. Any changes to that code could potentially have a huge impact on payroll processing.
Hmm.
Generative AI understands those dependencies and prioritizes tests in those critical areas to make sure everything works perfectly. In one case, a payroll software company actually used AI to catch a critical tax calculation bug before deployment, which potentially saved them from some pretty hefty penalties.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. So AI is not only speeding up testing, but it's also making it way more targeted and strategic.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technical aspects either. Generative AI is also changing how we approach user experience testing. By simulating real user interactions, it can help us build applications that are more intuitive and enjoyable to use.
So instead of just testing whether the software works, we're testing whether it works well for the people who are actually going to be using it.
That's the key. And AI can simulate a huge range of scenarios, like a user with a really poor network connection or someone switching between devices midstream. Think about a streaming app like Netflix. The AI can simulate those real-world situations to see how the app handles things like buffering issues or device switching.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that kind of testing is so crucial for identifying usability issues early on, which leads to a much better user experience overall. We even found a case study where a healthcare app significantly improved its usability. by using AI to simulate realistic user interactions,
Yeah.
like inputting incorrect data or incomplete forms.
So AI isn't just helping us build software that works, it's helping us build software that people actually want to use.
That's exactly right. And another crucial aspect of user experience is the quality of the test data itself. Traditionally, getting realistic test data has been a big challenge, especially when you need to protect user privacy. But generative AI can actually help us overcome that challenge by generating synthetic data. That mimics real user data, but without any of the privacy concerns.
So it's like having a data factory that can churn out realistic information, from customer profiles to financial transactions, all while complying with data privacy regulations.
Exactly. We saw an example of a healthcare app that needed to test with realistic patient records, but obviously couldn't use real patient data. Generative AI provided a solution by creating anonymized data that was both realistic and compliant.
That's brilliant. So AI is not just changing the testing process, it's changing the data we use to test. And speaking of changing processes, we can't overlook the impact of AI on continuous testing and integration. This seems to be where AI really shines in a DevOps environment.
Oh, absolutely. Generative AI can seamlessly integrate into those CI/CD pipelines, enabling continuous testing and faster delivery cycles. CI/CD, by the way, stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Delivery. It's a software development approach where code changes are frequently merged and deployed, allowing for faster feedback and quicker releases.
So AI fits perfectly into that model, right?
Exactly. It's like having an AI-powered testing engine constantly running in the background, making sure that every new code change is thoroughly tested before it goes live. We even saw examples of AI integrating with tools like Jenkins, which is a really popular automation server used for CI/CD.
So AI is not just testing the software. It's becoming a part of the development process itself. It's like having an AI teammate working alongside developers and testers.
That's a great way to think about it. And the beauty of it is that AI is always learning and adapting. As the application evolves, the AI's testing capabilities actually improve, leading to more effective bug detection and prevention.
So it's not just about automation, it's about continuous learning and improvement. But what about the human side of all this? How does AI affect communication and collaboration within development teams?
Well, one of the really exciting developments is the emergence of generative AI tools with natural language interfaces. This means that developers, testers, and even non-technical stakeholders can interact with the AI using plain English.
So no more deciphering complex technical jargon.
Exactly. This makes it so much easier for everyone to understand test results, discuss potential issues, and
Ah,
collaborate on creating new test cases. We even came across a case study where a mobile app development firm used an AI-driven test management tool that provided insights in plain English. This significantly improved communication between technical and non-technical team members, reducing misunderstandings and streamlining the development process.
it sounds like AI is breaking down communication barriers and fostering a more collaborative approach to software development. It's really changing the way teams work together. But what about the individual roles of developers and testers? If AI is handling so much of the heavy lifting, does that mean humans are becoming obsolete?
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore further in the next part of our deep dive. We'll delve into the evolving roles of developers and testers, and how they can adapt and thrive in this AI-driven landscape.
I can't wait. We just finished talking about how AI is changing the whole game of software testing, from creating test cases to improving communication. But I'm really curious about what this means for the people involved. If AI can handle so much, what happens to the roles of developers and testers?
Yeah, it's a question that's definitely on everyone's mind. Some people worry that AI will just completely replace human testers, but I actually see it differently.
Yeah, it's hard not to think about those like robot takeover movies sometimes.
Right, exactly. But instead of seeing AI as a threat, I think we should really think of it as a tool that empowers us. It can take care of all those tedious and repetitive tasks and free us up to focus on more strategic and creative work.
So instead of replacing testers, AI is actually making their jobs more interesting.
Exactly. Imagine AI handling all that time-consuming test script creation and maintenance. That gives human testers space to do more exploratory testing, which really relies on human intuition and creativity.
So they can focus on trying to break the application in those unexpected ways, finding the bugs AI might miss.
Yeah, that's the idea. Human testers bring a unique perspective that AI just can't replicate. We understand user expectations, their frustrations, and how they might use the app in ways that developers never even considered.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like AI handles the science of testing and humans bring the art. But what about the developers? How does all this impact them?
Well, for developers, generative AI can be a huge productivity boost. Think about having an AI assistant that automatically generates unit tests for your code. That means that each function and module is thoroughly tested, even before it's added to the main code base.
Oh, that sounds like a dream. Fewer bugs right from the start.
Exactly. And it goes beyond unit tests, too. AI can also assist with code reviews, helping to spot potential security flaws or performance bottlenecks that humans might overlook.
It's like having an extra pair of expert eyes constantly reviewing the code.
And because AI can analyze such massive amounts of code, it can often find patterns and issues that would be almost impossible for a human to spot.
So it seems like generative AI is making software better and the development process smoother. But what about the big picture? How does this technology impact the entire software industry?
I think it's going to be a major game changer. We're already seeing a shift towards more agile and iterative development, and AI is only going to accelerate that trend.
So we're talking faster development cycles, quicker releases, more frequent updates, all powered by AI.
That's right. And with AI handling so much of the testing, companies can release software with a lot more confidence. This leads to higher quality products, fewer bugs, and happier users.
And happier developers and testers too, I imagine. But we have to talk about the potential downsides too. Every new technology comes with its own set of challenges. What should we be mindful of as AI becomes more prevalent in software testing?
That's a great point. It's really important to remember that AI is a tool, not a magic solution. It can't replace human judgment and expertise entirely.
We can't just blindly trust the AI and assume it's always right.
Absolutely not. We need to use it responsibly, always questioning its outputs, and using our own critical thinking skills to make sure that the results are valid.
So it's more of a partnership than a takeover.
Precisely. AI and humans working together can accomplish far more than either one could alone. But we need to be aware of the potential challenges and use this technology wisely. This leads to some really interesting ethical considerations as well.
Okay, let's talk about that. What kind of ethical considerations are we facing as AI becomes more ingrained in our work?
Well, as AI gets more and more sophisticated, we really need to think carefully about how to use it ethically. For example, how do we make sure that AI-driven testing doesn't create new problems or amplify existing ones? How do we protect user privacy when AI is analyzing so much data? And how do we make sure that AI enhances human capabilities instead of replacing them altogether?
Those are really important questions. It sounds like we need to think about the responsible development and use of AI in all areas, not just software testing. But for now, sticking with software, what skills do developers and testers need to develop to thrive in this AI-driven world?
That's the million-dollar question, and one we'll unpack right after this.
We've talked about how AI is transforming software testing and raised some important questions about humans' role in this new world. So what skills do we need to thrive in this AI-driven world?
I think it's all about focusing on skills that complement AI, not trying to compete with it. For testers, this means moving beyond manual scripting and becoming more strategic in their approach.
So less about following a checklist and more about thinking like a detective.
Exactly. Testers need to develop strong analytical skills to really understand how these AI algorithms work and how to interpret those results they produce. And they also need to be creative, adaptable, able to design tests that challenge the AI, uncover those hidden vulnerabilities.
So it's a blend of that technical expertise and good old-fashioned human intuition.
Yeah, exactly.
What about for developers? What skills should they be focusing on?
For developers, it's really crucial to understand how to leverage AI effectively. So that means learning how to integrate AI tools into their workflow, how to interpret the results from those tools, and how to collaborate with those AI systems to improve their code quality.
It's not just about writing code anymore. It's about understanding how to work alongside this AI partner.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, developers really need to invest time in learning about AI concepts, algorithms, and tools. But I think the payoff is huge. Those who embrace AI will have a real advantage out there in the job market.
So it's not just about keeping up with the latest programming languages. It's about understanding how to harness this power of AI. It's almost like AI is becoming a fundamental skill for anyone working in tech these days.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it goes beyond just those technical skills. I think communication and collaboration will be even more important as AI becomes more integrated into our work. So developers and testers will need to work really closely together, sharing their knowledge and expertise to make sure that AI is being used effectively.
It sounds like AI is changing not just the tools we use, but the entire way we work together.
Right.
It's pushing us to be more collaborative, more adaptable, and even more creative. Oh.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this so exciting. AI has the potential to not only improve the software we build, but also make our jobs more interesting and rewarding. I think by embracing AI and developing those skills needed to work alongside it, we can unlock new levels of creativity and innovation.
This deep dive has been truly eye-opening. We've explored how AI is transforming software testing, from automating tasks to enhancing collaboration. We've seen its potential to make software development faster, more efficient, and ultimately more human-centered.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to think about. If AI can handle all those technical aspects of testing, what new opportunities does that create for human creativity and problem solving? How can we use AI to not only build better software, but also to build a better world?
That's a fantastic question, and one that I hope all of our listeners will consider. The future of software development is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future where both humans and technology thrive. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.